Hi, I am Kajer on Two Wheels, and I've got some news for you. Facebook channel already knows this for at least a week, so if you're not following me on Facebook, you're lost. But I've made a new channel, and that new channel is a Portuguese language only channel. Why? Because I have about half my subscribers are Portuguese, and I have a feeling I'd get a lot more subscribers if I was speaking Portuguese, at least from the Portuguese side, obviously. Plus, I've noticed that there are a few things that should be on YouTube and that aren't, namely a starter series, but in Portuguese, so that's a motivation. English-speaking only folk, don't worry, you're not going to lose any content, because this is going to still be the main channel. The Portuguese channel will only be for stuff that you will not want to hear about. I'm not going to talk in the English channel about how to choose or which insurance company to choose, because for you it's really not going to be relevant now, is it? So I'm only going to, on the Portuguese channel, is going to be Portuguese content exclusively. The only exceptions will be A, the test drives, which I will try to do on both languages. I don't know how that's going to work, but I'll make it work somehow. And, okay, a few things I might consider important enough to put on both channels. And then it depends on which channel grows the fastest. But the idea is this one's the main channel, the other one's the secondary channel. If the other one also grows very quickly, to the extent that it also becomes a main channel, then I'll start doing the vlogs in two languages. I'll just do it in English, and then I'll do it in Portuguese or whatever. So that's news, Portuguese people. Move on over, and the link is here. It's called Kajer on Two Wheels, VP, and that's VP stands for Versão Portuguesa, which is Portuguese version. I have loads of imagination, as you can see. So yeah, it's just that simple. It's just that. Also, in other news, just to make this one worthwhile, my exhaust is broken. Yeah. So what happened is, I installed the exhaust, and the first time I installed it, I didn't like the look of it. I didn't like the way it was hanging. Because there's basically exhaust comes in an aftermarket slip-on exhaust comes in two parts. One is the mid pipe, which connects your exhaust pipe to the can, and then there's the can itself. Now, why is there a mid pipe? Because usually exhausts are universal, and then they only have to fabricate different mid pipes for different bikes to place the exhaust correctly. In my case, the mid pipe's okay, but then the can usually has one hole on one end, then on the other hand has a tiny pipe like this big that goes into the mid pipe and then grabs there. The idea is that, and then after that it's held onto the mid pipe, but what's actually holding onto the exhaust is some brackets grabbing the can to the bike. The whole idea is that the can is hanging by that bracket and not by the mid pipe. Now, thing is, on my exhaust, the first time I put it on, the bracket was on the furthest off to the right, or very close to the mid pipe, and I didn't really like the look of that. It looked improvised. And so I just missed my exit, and so I moved it back slightly with a small extension they have. Extensioner, I don't know, some little piece of metal to move the bracket slightly backwards. And then it hang on. Thing is, with that little extra piece, it gave it a bit of a leeway. That bit of leeway was just enough to make it vibrate, or vibrate too much, and break the tiny pipe that comes out of the muffler and into the mid pipe. That tiny little piece of metal broke. So now my can is no longer, or my muffler is no longer actually attached. Cool guy trucker. My can is actually no longer attached or physically attached to the mid pipe. But as you can see, I still have it here because I jury-rigged something. first I just reconnect them and tightened everything and just hope for the best. And then, when I got some more time, was actually the next day, I removed that extension, put it on the way I didn't like it at first, but it was very stable, and reconnected the pipes. And then the day after that I decided to make a more permanent jury rig, and I stuck the DB killer inside it, because the DB killer on this particular exhaust goes onto the end, onto the start of the muffler, not plugging in from the rear. And so the DB killer is exactly where it broke, giving it a bit more structural integrity. So I put the DB killer in there. I drilled a hole in the DB killer, because on this bike the DB killer does nothing, because the bike itself is very quiet. So there's no point in using a DB killer on an NC700. So I put on the DB killer inside. Then I reconnected everything, and the DB killer is actually serving as that small extension, that small pipe going into the muffler, going from the muffler into the mid-pipe. It's working as that from the inside, giving it a bit more structural integrity and helping seal the gases in, so I don't have leakage from there. Not that I would have, not that I had before, even when it was just touching, but whatever. The exhaust now works as normal. I lost a little bit of sound, but not much problems, and I already got a contact from an exhaust pipe shop that's going to weld that back into position. You're probably wondering, hey, hang on, isn't it new? What about warranty? Well, actually I was surprised, because I was surprised twice. First, 3 times I was surprised. First, I sent the email to Denmoto. Then, about 2 hours later, no, that's fast service, they responded saying, okay, listen, I sent them a video actually, with the email, and I said, okay, listen, I think you mounted that wrong, because I looked at the video and it seemed to be very loose. And I had to say, okay, mea culpa, yeah, that's right, it's a bit loose, might have been me, might not. But Denmoto also said on the very next phrase, they said, okay, you can either send it back to us and we'll repair it, or we will send you the end cap, the starting of the muffler, which has that pipe coming out that connects to the mid pipe. So they'll send me that for free. They didn't accept a warranty claim, or didn't accept it. They said, okay, it's your fault, but even so, they sent me the piece for free. So they're accepting a warranty claim on something they say, listen, that was you, okay? So that's actually good customer service. That's very good customer service. Even with me screwing up, we said, okay, just send it to us and we'll repair it, or we'll just send you a new end cap and you'll replace that. I chose the version to replace because sending it back to China would be expensive, and this way I just have to drill out, not me, but a professional will, drill out the rivets and then re-rivet the end cap, and it's done. Even so, I'm going to welder the one I have. I asked them how to do it, they responded how to do it. The exhaust guy knows how to do it, so he's going to weld that. I'm going to get the end cap, run around with the thing welded on, and if it eventually breaks, I'll just have a replacement. If it doesn't break, cool, it's done. Yeah, it's a bit annoying, but at least it's getting fixed. Just yet another on the huge list of shit that keeps happening to me. It's like, oh, life is so good, everything's going so well, and then life goes, give me a sec. Cage, you're out. I am. Oi, pera, em português. Olá, eu sou o Cager on Two Wheels e esqueci-me de falar português. Não, agora a sério. Não, pera, em inglês, estúpido do caralho, meu. Hi, I am Cager on Two Wheels and I've got a question for you, Spicy. Tell me, is this your bike? Because it really looks like your bike, or at least the same model of your bike, right? This is here, it's called the iMoto Tiger SM125. Look, I recognize this. Isn't it? I think it is. Really looks like her. Yeah? I don't remember this pipe on your bike. Might be wrong. Tell me. I'm curious. Because if this is your bike, these are actually really nice. China made, but really nice bikes. Of the China made, these are some of the best. Yeah, it is. Look, it's her face. I recognize that face. If yours is this with a different branding, these are really nice Chinese bikes. These are some of the only Chinese bikes that you can confidently buy. And they're not going to fall apart. They just keep on going. For example, this one has 3,000 kilometers. That's not much.